Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, so let's jump on in. We're going to see where this check in on the topic of love takes us. All right, so let's start with whatever it may be. We have a Six of Swords. That Six of Swords talks about, God, this, I feel like this card comes out every time first, anytime I use this deck. But that is someone who's moving into calmer waters. We have a Two of Cups and we have a Page of Wands in the reverse. That Two of Cups is upright. And we have these, star beings here. Hi, everyone. So great to see you. Decoded, Violet, Calm C, Zoe, AC, The Light. Thank you, everybody. It's so good to see you tonight. Um, is it time? Is it time for love? I got to say, I have been getting the most lovely storylines. Like there's a real sense of peace and calm, and it's been going on kind of all week. Almost all of the stories have been about like laying down burdens, simplifying life, making it so there's less obstacles because it's kind of like love wins. It's like why would we let there be boundaries and problems that would prevent us from having one of the greatest things on earth, right? I mean, other than coffee and pork cooked in beer. And I'll say probably cake with frosting. Those are other great things. And sunlight. Those are those are a few of my favorite things. Love definitely. And oh my God, love and music, those are probably the top two though, let's be honest. Um, but these storylines seem to be like, isn't it time we get out of our way of having great happiness? Isn't it time that, it's like this is how all the characters are operating. Like, I don't want any more obstacles. I want a good time. And I want plenty of time with the person that I want to have a good time with. I want to be in a loving energy. I want to bond with somebody. So why would I let anything come between me and that? It's almost like characters are saying, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired when I know that life is better if we choose harmony and choose the thing that we actually want. So the time of angst and brooding is over. The time of being isolated is over. The time of putting energy toward like, well, this is a problem, that's an obstacle. Characters don't want to talk obstacles, they want to talk solutions. And I think that that's really awesome. And they don't want little teeny tiny, this isn't like a timid little foray into like, well, maybe I could try talking to somebody, but they probably won't want to talk to me. No, it's like full steam ahead. Got to find logical steps to make this work. So right now we have a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius who could be our lead character. And they in particular are like, I'm picturing something like shoving stuff out of the way off the table that is unnecessary. So they clear off their workspace and they go, now, let me only put things on my table that are actually important. Love. There we go. How do I talk to my person? Let me pick up a pen and start writing. What do I need to say? Let me just find those words. Very simple. I mean, I would say it only takes probably 3 words, right? I love you. Queen of Coins. Okay, so we have an air sign possibly needing to communicate with an earth sign. And they're at that point where nothing else really matters. Maybe they hit rock bottom in their life, or maybe they hit an epiphany in their life. Sometimes that happens when we hit rock bottom, or sometimes it happens when we become more like enlightened or evolved, or sometimes it's when something catastrophic happens in our life, or sometimes it's just we grow up. And it's like there's so much wasted time. We humans, we're really good at complicating things, but love's not really that complicated. My heart feels this way about you. There. That's what I need to say. So we can see somebody wants to say that. This could be a same-sex relationship. We could have 2 queens, 2 divine feminines. Does not have to be. We have a 3 of Pentacles. Here's the puzzle pieces. Again, maybe this is what they want to say is like, you actually fit with me like a puzzle piece. All the other obstacles don't matter. You still fit with me like a puzzle piece. So I need you to be a piece of my life. I mean, maybe it's that simple. 3 of Pentacles is let's get busy working together instead of working on everything but being together. What is the context of this relationship though? Because we could say that it's like an unexpected thing, or we could say that it's maybe there were significant problems in the past. Maybe there were significant hurdles to think that we can just have this work out might be a little bit like a pipe dream. I don't know. We have Princess of Cups in the reverse. In the past, they didn't do anything slow. They didn't do anything tiny. They didn't start out at a normal starting point. I'm wondering if these two like met and went to 100 immediately, right? Or 0 to 60. It's a Two of Cups relationship. So I'm guessing that they bypassed the dating phase, the getting to know each other phase. And so in the past, it was already, super serious, super intense, and it all went a little bit sideways. Okay, a lot sideways. It's the devil. It's about as sideways as we can get. Intense lust right out of the gate. But also, this was not just like, a one-nighter or something like that. This was a relationship where both people, as intense as it was and even toxic as it was, there was also still something about it that was like, yeah, but this makes me feel like right or whole, or I feel better with this person. But it's just nuts how quickly we go from, there wasn't really dating, there was intensity immediately. The devil doesn't have to be a bad card. It is unbridled emotion, and that can burn us sometimes. Anything that has, like, think of nuclear energy, right? Super dangerous, also incredibly powerful. And if used intelligently and safely, with enough safeguards, it powers cities, right? So with anything where there's great power, of course, it could be extremely devastating if it's used in the wrong way also. But I'm feeling like these two, they never had like a soft and gentle, like, I'll barely get to know you, we'll see how it goes. It was like some, hyperactive, radiation emitting, like crazy, oh my God, I'll never be the same because I just met you. But it also feels like it works, but then it didn't. Obviously, there was something that didn't work. Maybe it's that they pushed each other apart, but I feel like they were so happy to meet each other. We have a King of Pentacles. I don't know. I think things started out super intense, but it was like, this is it. The mothership has landed. Oh my God, seriously, we just got a King and a Queen of Pentacles. So we have a matched pair. So they were both certain in the very beginning. And we're talking this could have been one of those stories where they knew from the first date, I'm marrying you, you're marrying me. I mean, they may have already started calling themselves, husband, wife, something like that, and not really joking from the first date. It could have been like crazy, accelerated, where even they're like, this is not probably a good idea. This is too intense. This is too much. We have a Four of Swords. And then there was silence. I almost feel like we were describing like their first meeting was like crazy off the charts. They could have fallen to bed the first time they met. This could have been something where it was so serious. Oh, that song. So many promises never should be spoken. Losing you cut like a knife. You walked out and there went my life. Is it Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald? On My Own. Love that song. Love, love, love that song. But it looks like they had like crazy chemistry right out of the gate. They bypassed dating. They bypassed getting to know each other. And we're just like, we're going to be married. And then it's like the date ends and there's some silence and there's some like, oh my God, what just happened kind of energy. If they had problems, if they had arguments, if they had something like that, it was like, wait a second, but they're my person, even though I don't know them. And now we've had a conflict and now there's silence and I don't really know how to talk to them because maybe that's, we didn't work on that part. We didn't work on the communication bit. We worked on the other stuff. Ace of Wands, the intensity and the passion. And again, we see like the little devil mouth here and lightning strikes. And the Ace of Wands is about passion anyway. But we know that these two were like crazy off the charts passion for one another. This is, a thunder and lightning storm across the desert is particularly impressive because, there's this wide open vista. Maybe they met during a thunderstorm or maybe it was just like lightning when they met. And I think that these two, I mean, look, it's not like people can't survive lightning strikes, but they do get burned. And I'm thinking that that's what happened here. Like this was a lightning bolt to both of them. And I do think that as passionate and intense and as certain as they were, like, this is my person, I still think that you've got to be able to find communication though, right? Eight of Wands, that didn't happen. I think if these two got into a fight, this could have been the fastest love story in the history of humanity. They could have met, been and professing undying love in the next hour, and then 3 hours later had a fight and then gone, like that freaking fast. This could have been a 5 hour, I'll say, marriage, because I think it was intense enough that they felt like, I'm marrying you, you're the person I'm supposed to marry. So that's in the head, and then there's an argument, and there's passion, and then there's leaving. This is him going away. Normally that Eight of Wands would be like incoming communication, but it honestly looks to me like this thing collapsed or imploded so fast. Now, I'm not saying this all really played out in like a 5 hour gap of time. Maybe it was that wild. That would leave anybody with like whiplash, right? Emotional whiplash. But it could have been, maybe let's say this was 8 months. Even that could be like emotional whiplash though, because it's like to be that intense to start out and bypass the getting to know each other and just go right into, like, maybe they were married in a past life. Maybe that's why it was like this, because they both were on board with this. King and Queen of Pentacles. It's us. We're together. That's just how it is. It's like they said those words and they meant those words when they said them, but they didn't have any of the rest of the picture of who am I dealing with? What are your likes and dislikes? Are you one of those weirdos who puts like butterscotch on your ice cream, or are you a normal person who eats hot fudge? Sorry, I'm not really trying to cast shade at the butterscotchers out there. I just never understood it. Why when there's chocolate? But little things like that, like, what? What do you mean? You can't possibly be eating butterscotch in your ice cream. You're the person I'm going to marry. We couldn't be that different about our ice cream toppings. It could be like ridiculous. I'm using a ridiculous example, but I'm just pointing out all the millions of little things that you get to know about somebody, their likes, their dislikes over time, if you get to know them slowly. But these two didn't do that. Okay, so it's a very specific love story, right? This is not, this is the scenario. So we can't pretend like they somehow, had I'll say a normal flow, because they didn't. They had electricity and excitement and movie quality relationship that started out of nowhere, changed their lives, changed them forever, and then was freaking devastating, is what I'm guessing, for the leaving bit. Okay. Let me see. When I'm going to say he left the scene, then what? Well, it doesn't matter where you go. If your heart's still someplace else, you still want that person. So they can travel to the ends of the world. They can go to planet Mars. They can sail away wherever they want to another galaxy. And guess what? They're still feeling each other's energy. So they got like quantum entangled here, and that good luck detaching that. They met their person, something happens, and you can run away to the other side of a galaxy and you will still feel that person's heartbeat or feel their energy somehow linked to yours. That's what we have on this one. So Six of Coins, I mean, I'm sorry, but they haven't actually been apart, even though they haven't been together since then, is what it says, which is even weirder to say, well, how does that work? Probably really frustrating, huh? 10 of Pentacles. I don't know, though. I'll just say that they carried each other with them everywhere. If we look here, we can see the outlines of them, but they're just filled with stars. So I'm just going to say that the galaxy that they do share is beyond their day-to-day work, but they carry each other kind of like internally no matter what. So it doesn't matter where they are, doesn't matter what their job is, doesn't matter what's going on, they still carry each other like somewhere in their internal cosmos. That's a weird thing, because we're talking about more than one universe that they exist in now, right? They exist in their day-to-day life where they're not speaking, they're not around each other, but they also remain in this cosmic space where they are tethered together So we saw one of the two of them getting into their head and saying, you know what? This is enough of this, enough of the I feel you all the time, but we're not together. Enough of the obstacle. I don't know how we're ever going to get back together when, frankly, we've never been apart. So I don't think I can do this anymore. We have to just figure out how to make the pieces fit together in this tangible real world also. So what are you going to do? Because one of the two characters here is just, they're just done. They're just over this whole, like, we're apart, but I feel you all the time kind of business. This is now stupid. Why would we be apart when we're not even apart? Just get here in my arms. We've got the Fool. So leap of faith. So whomever embodies the energy of that Queen of Swords. Now we start out with an air sign and a Pentacles, so an earth sign, but then we saw them as a perfect match in Pentacle energy, in earth energy. So it's almost like we have one of these characters that could be an air sign, but they vacillate between, like, maybe they're the ones who actually needed to do more adjusting, I'll say, because if they have been living a life that's not really right for them, let's say they are living an air energy lifestyle, which is clinical, operating from the headspace. They're up in the air, up in the atmosphere. But the person that they love, the person that matches them, is an earth energy. That's somebody very tangible. That's somebody who, wants them beside them. And, let's plant potatoes together. Let's do stuff. Let's do the little tiny details of life together. Let's share in that. This air person realizes, I want to do that. That's what we said we were going to do when we were crazy electric, in the beginning. But then everything went to hell in a handbasket, and they've been thinking lots about this. So I'm wondering if they have actually been existing in a world that isn't really where they want to be. They'd rather be with their earth person. They're the ones ready to take this leap of faith. They're the ones ready to just bridge the gap, right? We literally have kind of like the Colossus of Rhodes, one of the seven wonders of the world. There was this huge giant statue of the sun god, and he spanned like the elements of the harbor, the two different sides of the harbor. I've been there. Of course, the statue's not there anymore, but I've been to Rhodes, right where he would have stood. And actually, I'll have to use a backdrop. I have a backdrop of him because I was quite impressed with just being someplace where there was one of the seven wonders of the world like that. But I feel like there's this Colossus of Rhodes moment where it's like, maybe this love story is like one of the seven wonders of the world for them. I mean, certainly in their life, yes, this would be very, very important. And maybe that's what our person embodying the air energy is realizing. They're thinking it out and they're saying, honest to God, nothing else matters. Like, why would we let anything separate this? If I need to make some changes to bridge the gap to be with my person, then so be it. We have the Knight of Wands. This is, instead of it, again, we have lightning and thunder. So I don't know if we've got stormy skies. I'm wondering if they create storms. Like maybe this is just internal storms, or maybe they tend, when their energies, fuse or they're around each other, it's like, I mean, it could be a source of humor between the two of them. Like, oh man, what do we do now? What our energy do now? But it feels like they crack a lackle. That's all I can say. But there could be thunder and lightning storms right now. But instead of this being a traditional Knight of Wands, which is, that passionate, rushing in but rushing back out again kind of energy, kind of erratic all over the place, we actually see somebody who's like, I'm sitting here like contemplating a single raindrop in this like more like Zen Buddhist garb here. So it almost feels like if this air energy person, we've already hinted that maybe they're the ones who needed to alter something in their life so they could be with their earth energy person. And I'm not saying this has to be the zodiacs that they are. I'm just saying the differences in them. I do feel like one of them had to alter something. They had to step into their true frequency, the frequency that they wanted to be in back when everything was so good between the two of them. And they are the ones now saying, I want to bridge the gap. They're the ones who maybe is saying, I don't want to zip around all over the place. I actually want to ground myself. Something about the lightning rod and the grounding, maybe that's the best way to describe it. Maybe that's what these two are to each other. Maybe she, I'll say she, because we've got the Queen of Pentacles. Maybe she is like the thing that grounds their energy. And maybe he needs that in his life. I say he because our air person is now being depicted by this electricity Knight of Wands card, and he's coming across as a masculine. I'm wondering if that's really what these two are to each other. You know, they have like an ability to be better together unless they don't know how to harness the energy. We have a 10 of Wands. Yeah, it's definitely time to just talk about grounding, right? Like we've got the earth right here. There is a unifying energy for these two. No matter where on earth they are, obviously they'll always still feel each other's energy anyway, but it's time to like bring it home. That's what it keeps feeling like. I want to say ET phone home. I don't know if somebody has traveled a ton, been all around, and now it's like, actually, I want to be just home with my partner. But it feels like that's what that air energy person has been recognizing and realizing. I'm done sailing the seven seas. I want to be with my partner more than I want anything. Why would I let any obstacle be there? They're my missing piece. That's all well and good, but you know, it's kind of taken on this slant where it's like, well, that's where the source of problems must have been between them. But we didn't really see that. Can we just get one simple, please make it simple bit of clarity to say, what is the problem? What was the core of the problem that they had when they first got together and everything was wonderful? Oh my God, look at this. Okay, so they're equally as strong, right? They were fused together, but you can't have two powerful beasts fused together and trying to pull in different directions. Talk about the differences between them, right? One is a tiger, one is this ferocious goat. Obviously, they're both probably bullheaded to a certain extent. They're very equally yoked, and they are literally chained together, handcuffed together through eternity. But the problem is they have got to learn to pull in the same direction, especially to get themselves unstuck. This has been a waste on one hand that these two ever failed to just figure out how to work together, because look at this is not fun. You're tangled up in these very sharp brambles or barbed wire, when if the two of you worked together as a team, you probably could have gotten yourselves out of that sooner, and then you wouldn't have felt like chained together and fighting each other. You would have looked at the problems as the obstacle instead of, we should go right, no, we should go left, no, right, no, left. It just feels like these two are so equally matched, but they just had to like synchronize their watches more or less. That was the underlying issue with these two. That also explains more about them having that crackling energy between them. And then we have the Six of Cups. This is so cute because now we've gone from these ferocious beasts that are tugging in different directions that are also linked together for eternity. And now we see them being those happy little chipmunks from the Disney cartoons that are so polite. They're, no, you go through the door. No, you go through the door. These two could instead be playful. They could harness their energy in this gentle way, enjoy each other's company, and build an empire instead of each one of them insisting that this is the way it needs to go. No, I feel like I'm not saying either one of them was like a control freak. I think each one of them put too much on their own shoulders. Like, I'm supposed to lead this. I'm supposed to already have all the answers. I'm supposed to be like, they were trying too hard to be everything to the other person and put too much on their shoulders. And then it became like they were easily feeling challenged by the other one. Like, okay, so what I did still wasn't good enough. You're picking me apart. You don't like the direction I was going to go. You have to lead. You're trying to, force your ways upon me. I don't think it was that. I think if they could have just seen themselves as happy chipmunks. Chipmunks do a lot of chit-chattering together, and they get their little work done, and they're scattered, and they're a little crazy. I think these two are a little crazy. in a good way. These are my kind of people, okay? Like I would hang out with people that intense and that's endearing and a little crazy. Um, they love big, and if you have people like that that love you, man, they are going to be on your team. But yes, they can also be really once in a while like hard to handle because they put so much responsibility on themselves. This is a whole different spin on, how is it that two amazing and powerful people could actually like collapse? It's not because they're control freaks, it's not because they're bad. They're actually both very courageous, but they just had to like kick back and have a little bit more fun, it says, and not put so much pressure on themselves. They each one felt like they had to have it all figured out. They had to be the lead. They had to do this, do that for one another. Basically, they were trying to be heroes or trying to be, like superstars instead of just be people. They already chose each other without even knowing what the other one's skill sets or anything was. They chose each other right out of the gate. You're my very favorite one. You're my best one. I pick you. I pick you. They already did that. They didn't have to then like earn their place so that that partner would keep picking them. They just needed to know, they think I'm the best one. I think they're the best one. That's all it needed to be. And this could have been a lot easier. Okay, so are they going to come around to that this time? The Justice card, the Page of Cups, the Five of Swords. I will say this. Remember, our air sign person seems to be the one that is making the first jump, the concessions, the leap forward. They are the ones who want to come home. They are the ones crossing the bridge. They are the ones who cannot handle this anymore. I don't want to be away. I don't want to move on from you because I can't anyway because you're with me all the time. So I'm going to come towards you. And they may open up the dialogue of like, it was wrong for me to have done X, Y, or Z. I'm incredibly sorry because I never wanted us to have fights and problems. This is an I'm sorry for what I did wrong kind of energy. But that Five of Swords makes me pause for just a second. We see the skeleton climbing up out of the coffin or out of the graveyard, right? And this was their last fight. This is the fight that ended it, which, like we said before, man, it was over before it got started. They're opening up the dialogue for that last fight. It doesn't matter if it was 5 years ago, 15 years ago. They're going to say, I'm sorry for that fight we had. They want to broach the subject, which is great because it's going to have to be aired out. Four of Pentacles. It's also, I'm sorry for the fight that we had and then withdrawing completely. Now, that could be why they're the ones who actually have to broach this topic anyway, because if they had a fight and then they are the ones who disappeared on this whole connection, the Four of Pentacles is then I held back. I said nothing. I went into my cave. I can see why, in any argument, there's like, I think of like a boxing ring. Like at some point, the ref has to call whoever the winner is. Now in boxing, it's easy because it's whoever, got the points or the knockout or whatever. But in an argument, in a conversation, how do you know where it stops? That can be a little bit murkier. When you hang up the phone and don't respond to somebody's next response, okay, that's you saying, I'm not talking to you anymore. And so that's where the conversation ends. So somebody did that and it was wrong that they did that. So they have here's the thing. If the other partner, if our earth person is going to be like, I don't accept that, the fact that you did that, I won't forgive it. And they could act like that. We don't know yet, but this is pretty bad because what was left was a whole lot of hurt and anger and then silence and no attempt to fix it. Instead, I retreat to my cave and I retreat as the winner because I stopped talking to you after an argument. So I can see why the air person has to come in and they have to open the dialogue, but I don't know what the earth person is going to do. Now, we've talked about this on and on and on, like they are both like so... like this was such an important connection, but do we know that anymore? Is that the same? Does the Queen of Coins feel that way? Queen of Coins says, I've worked long and hard to move on from this. Six of Swords. Now, bear in mind, that is the first card that we had out. Whoops, sorry. The first card that we had out from the other deck was the Six of Swords on the air person's side. So both of them are saying, I moved on. This could be, I moved on from the anger. I moved on from that fight. I'm not mad anymore. This is the maker. I always call this the maker of the deck. And I look at it as the universe. Our earth person has said, I moved on because it was in my greatest and highest good to be able to move on from anger, venom, even hurt, because the universe told me I better for my sanity. Ultimately, they're my soulmate any way I slice it. Maybe I didn't behave that different from them. If they hadn't blocked me or stopped talking to me, I would have stopped talking to them too. We fought the same way. So I got to say, I was like, I don't know how this one's going to go, because this could be where the whole storyline collapses. But instead, our earth person basically says, I let go of any venom a long time ago. I know that they were my soulmate. I felt about them a way that I've never felt about anybody else. That is the truth. There's no way for me to pretend that it wasn't something very magical, very meaningful, and that'll always be that person I shared something with. I'll always feel like they're my soulmate. 10 of Wands. And I just accept that. And I laid down all hostilities, and I laid down, whatever else happened there, because this is still the shining truth at the end of the day. They're a soulmate to me. I can't hate them, especially not when I loved them so much. So I laid down all of the obstacles, all the frustration. I just laid it down and surrendered it. So I would say this is the perfect time for these two, because they've gotten over the argument. They've gotten over the intensity. Well, no, the intensity has shifted. They have recognized that the intensity is what tells them this is not an average everyday kind of thing. This isn't somebody that you forget. This isn't somebody that these two don't walk around and every third person they meet, they go, I love you. I'm going to marry you. Like, that just does not happen to these people. This is the only time they've ever acted like this, is with each other. So that's why it's like all the intensity, all of the upset, all of the even the minutia of the argument and everything that they were so mad about at some point in time pales by comparison to the fact, the overarching fact that I never felt like that about anybody but you. I never went nuts other than with you. So this is different. And I think that is why at the end of the day, this connection can perhaps still be reapproached, because even after all this time, because there's never been anybody like this for him. There's never been anybody like this for her. Doesn't matter what genders. It's just we see a masculine and feminine here. We've seen them show up as both feminines. We've seen them shown up as masculine and feminine. So again, that part is again not relevant, other than they are counterparts. So it looks like we are on track. When is this happening? Do we have any message about the win? A sideways card. Four of Pentacles is sideways. April 1st, April Fool's Day. I'm sorry, but I'm just noticing, the fourth month would be April. We're almost there. And we got one pentacle down. So I'm like, seriously? April 1st, April Fool's, that on one hand would almost be appropriate in this storyline, because it would be like, is this serious? Like, this whole thing has felt so otherworldly anyway. The moon, we're also in the middle of eclipse season. We've already had the, full moon in Virgo. We've had the lunar eclipse. We're headed for the solar eclipse a little bit later on here this month. I don't know. I guess they come together when they are at a point where there's no more holding back, whatever that means. And we already know that it's going to be the air person is the one who's going to be reaching out. So it may have something to do with, it may be that not even they have an exact date in their head. This could be, sometimes in life we think about something for a really long time, and then bizarrely just one day we just do it and we surprise people, because it's like, wait, you did the thing. I really thought you were just talk. I didn't really know you were really going to do that. Yeah, this Queen of Cups, I'm going to say that it's like when the subconscious moves this person to just like, they got to say, look, I love you. That's what it comes across as. It's when you can't hold those words in anymore, and they're just going to slip out anyway. And I already said, like, whatever the message is, I'd already said, well, it really only takes 3 words to pare it down, and it might just be I love you. And that's a good depiction of that. It's very simple. I think this is where we end this one, because these two, there's really no way that they're not getting back together in this. It just feels like this flow of energy at this timeline, this is the time for relationships that matter this much. They're not going to matter less if more time passes. So they're just wasting time not being together, not hashing it out and figuring out how to be good together. So why would you waste any more time? That's like literally if you had tons and tons and tons of money just sitting there and you're like, well, I've got all this cash, bunch of stuff I could do with that cash, a bunch of good works I could do, a bunch of things that I need to actually purchase, a bunch of gifts I could give to the people I love. But I'm just going to sit there and keep staring at my big old wad of money and letting day after day after day go by when people could benefit from sharing that wealth, or, the good works you could do. Like, why would you just sit on that and do nothing? I just merged decks and they're not even at all. I don't know how. These cards are such different sizes, but I was trying to merge them. Okay. This is a great point for me to stop. All right, you guys. Good to see everybody. Aries, hey. Hi, AC. Calm C, thank you so much for being here. I hear you. AC, you are ready. You are ready for Taurus season. Stevette, wonderful to see you. Me too. Oh, Eliana, I cannot remember what the name of this deck is. I got it a long time ago now on Etsy. I do not remember, and I don't even know, because it was so long ago. I don't know how far back my history goes, because I've had this one for years. I don't use it a whole lot. It is, even for me having, I'm tall, so I have big hands too, right? I'm 6 feet tall. So it's really, it's a very long deck. So it's really hard to shuffle, but I do love it. And I cannot for the life of me think of what the name of it is, because it's so unusual. I do know that it's one where it's kind of like a Renaissance vibe to it, but a lot of them are actual like photos turned into art. And that the card that I call the Maker, that is actually the guy who made the deck. It's a male artist, but I cannot think of what it is. But it's kind of like a Renaissance vibe. I've had it a long time. Priceless Princess, good to see you. Bye-bye. Hi, Pammer. Travis Rhodes is in the house. Hey. Oh, Pammer, I'm sorry you're feeling anxious for 0 reasons. You know what? I think that makes sense, though. Nat's good to see you. Sometimes I think like anticipation, can translate into like nervousness. Like, I know my mom, when I have traveled with her in the past, she like won't sleep. And I'm like, okay, listen, we have an early morning flight. I know, that's why I'm not going to sleep. And I'm like, but you need to sleep. The alarm will go off. We won't miss our flight. And she just can't. She'll be awake all night long. And I'm like, oh my God, she's like a little kid that gets so excited. I'm not suggesting you're an adorable little kid like my mom. I'm just saying that sometimes excitement, I think, can also translate into like just energy, NH, thank you, love. Good to see you. Little dragon, hey. Thanks again, Stevette and Jean. Hi. Jeannie, excuse me, Jeannie K. You're right, Pammer. You're talking about rutabagas. That's nice. I have eaten rutabagas. I have to be honest, I'm not in love with them. But I'm not in love with potatoes or sweet potatoes either. They don't seem to like me very much. Decoded, thanks again, hun. Kristen Alphabet, wonderful to see you. We did have some characters tonight. And yes, it was actually nice to get a chance to do a storytelling a little bit earlier this evening. Hi, Nabila. Decoded, thanks. Hi, Marabuka. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you guys so much for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. I so appreciate that. Happy spring equinox to you also, Isles. Oh, that's beautiful, Kristen Alphabet. Lisbeth, thank you. Right back to you. Thanks for being here. Hi, Danae. Decoded. Did you say that before I even did in the story? It must be quantum fast story, new age. That's so crazy. I don't know when. I can't go back like on a timestamp and see when you said that, but did you say that before I said it? That's so awesome. Christopher Thacker, great to see you. Do they make butterscotch ice cream, Christopher? I didn't even know that. They probably do. I know they have all kinds of flavors. Calm, see the bananas with the hot fudge. You know, I don't like banana splits either. It just doesn't belong to me. I don't know why. You guys, thanks again. Nice to see you. D. Rogers is in the house. Hey. Annette, thank you for being here. Shout out to you in Australia. Violet, I'm so glad you made it though, hon. Stephanie D, wonderful to see you. Mo Maxwell, Shay. Lois is in the house. Hi, sweetie. How are you? And the light and decoded Violet, Calm C, Zoe, you guys were the first in the club. And of course, AC, we're way up there too. Pisces and Witchery, hi, hun. Thanks for being here. All right, you guys, I'm going to bounce on out. Check up on the baby. Oh, Christopher Thacker. Okay, so they do have butterscotch ice cream, and it is delicious. I am going to, in honor of you, someday, some way, I'm going to try butterscotch ice cream, and I shall report back. I've never seen it, so I'm not sure where I'll track it down from, but I promise you that I will, and I will give it a very fair opportunity. All right. You know, I will likely do one more live tonight. I'm thinking I'll probably do a Taurus video over on the other channel after I get back with Aries. So I will see you guys for one more live this evening. All right. Unless you guys did somebody want a different one? If you guys wanted a different storyline. Travis Rhodes, good to see you. Emma Lisa, thank you for the rose. AC, you vote Aquarius? Okay. Okay, we can do that one instead of Taurus. All right, you guys, take care. I'll see you for Aqua after I get back with Aries, okay? Lots of love, you guys. Bye for now.